What's up, everybody, and welcome to Growing Up Gaming, your weekly podcast where we meet a new person of the internet to discuss their childhood with gaming and how it inspired their lives today. My name is Mitch Power. Again, thank you guys so much for listening each and every week. This show wouldn't be anything without its community. Hopefully you've subscribed on iTunes or shared it with a friend or given us a rating. Each and everything you guys do will help make the show bigger and bigger. This week we have our guest. His name is Tani Koulikov. I met this gentleman on the Comedy Button Facebook group. He sent me a message and said, I want to be on the show. So I definitely was happy to record with him and hear about his very strange first console that he started with. Definitely not something on the ordinary. If you guys ever want to be on an episode of the show, please send me a tweet at MitchPower1116 or at the podcast Twitter page, which is at GUG Podcast. Without further ado, let's get started with Tani Koulikov. When did you end up getting started? Like, do you remember the first console you got or who initially got you into gaming?
Man, it was way back when I was when we were still in Bulgaria and I was maybe 4 years old. I remember my godparents' kids had this bootleg Batmobile console from the 90s Batman movies, and it had a bunch of the classic Nintendo games. It had Ice Climbers, it had Joust, it had Rampage, it had just all kinds of things like that, and I remember playing Joust and Rampage the most. And then when we moved to the States, we got this, I guess I'm a PC gamer originally, because we got this compact computer with Windows 98, and I remember the first things I played on there were Lego Island and these CD games from Pizza Hut where you would flip pizzas or
right,
delivering a pizza 100 blocks or whatever. Those were
so you lived in
sure.
You lived in Bulgaria until you were how old?
Until I was 4, about.
Okay, so your first memory though, so your first memory was basically, because I've seen them out there where you have it's not an NES console, but obviously it has the ROMs and it's basically an emulator. Mm-hmm. So that's pretty much what it was, that had a bunch of Nintendo games on it.
Yeah, pretty much it was that.
That's awesome though. Well, so then you moved to the States and everything. And then so basically started PC gaming. So it's funny because I know a lot of people that when they start, I personally didn't know too many people playing PC games that much when I was a kid. But I mean, talking to other people, I know it's cool because, now I've been hearing a lot of people saying, no, I started on, PC and doing this. So it's really awesome. So
I did always want a GameCube or an N64 or a Game Boy, but I never got any of those. It was always just whatever you got on the computer at the time, or
right,
online on CartoonNetwork.com or a bunch of Flash games and stuff. That was where I got my start, really.
Well, that's cool.
Sure.
At least when you were growing up, you had that available and everything. Because back when how old are you?
I'm 23.
23. All right. Yeah. So because I remember when I was a kid with the PC side of stuff, it was floppy disks, and I hope you know how to type in command prompts proper, because if you didn't, you weren't playing anything. So.
Yeah, for sure.
So what do you remember what your so you started playing the PC games, did you have any siblings or anything that you played a lot of games with, or
I didn't. I do have 2 siblings. They're both the one is 4 years younger than me, the other one's 8 years younger than me. So growing up I didn't really have them to play with because they were so young, and I didn't really have couch co-op or anything with friends until I got a PlayStation 2 in 2003, and until then it was pretty much just playing online and playing with random
playing a lot of the
people
Flash games and stuff like that
online or something like that. Yeah.
So you upgraded from PC gaming and everything, so you had that, you were doing the Lego Island stuff. Do you remember what the first home console you ended up getting? Was it a PS2? Was that kind of your first foray into console gaming?
Yeah, definitely. It was a PS2, and the first game I had on it was 007 Agent Under Fire. It was the first one, because I remember playing it at a friend's house, and I told my parents, for Christmas it'd be cool if I could, if Santa could bring me, get me that. That'd be awesome, because I was, for sure. And I was big into Need for Speed also, actually, on the classic Need for Speed games, and I had a few of those on PS2 as well, Underground and like the Hot Pursuit 2 and things like that.
Did you ever go back, like, with your PS2, did you ever go and play any of the older PS1 games, like, because it was backward compatible? Did you ever go back and, like, try any of the older stuff before, you know, you got your first console?
No, I didn't actually. I actually didn't really know much about gaming at the time. I knew that the PS1 existed, but I had no idea that I could play the games on the old ones on the console, and I didn't even have a memory card for like a year and a half, so I had to just leave it on and hope nobody would touch the green button and erase all my like progress on whatever I was on.
Right, it was either leave the game system on or just have fun restarting your game over and over.
Yep.
So
I had the first like 10 levels of the James Bond game memorized because of how many times my little sister or brother would just restart the console.
I remember the days of memory cards and stuff, because that was funny, because that was back when memory cards were such a new thing, because before, you know, cartridges held everything. You didn't have to worry about, you know, the only thing you had to think about is if you wanted to jump forward was like, before games had save progress, was like passwords. It's like, you remember a password to get back to this stage? No? Well, I guess you're screwed. You just got to keep playing it over and over. But, you know, then the memory card fiasco happened, and that was probably fun for every parent at that time. Like, wait, you need this now? Like, didn't we just buy this? We just bought this. We just bought this game. Now you need this thing. Just like the cables back when, you know, not everybody had the TVs that had the red, white, and yellow cables. So then you had to go buy the RF adapter. And
yeah, that's right. Oh my God.
Everybody remembers that. Like, I can't imagine. Like, obviously, you know, I at least am happy that I'm informed on it. My parents were probably just like, are you kidding me? Now I got to go and do what now? We got to go back to the store. And of course, you're a dumb kid and you're like, it's Christmas morning. And you're like, Mom, I need this. And you're like, she's like, yeah. Good luck with that. It's Christmas. Nobody's open. Sorry about that.
You'll get it later, maybe.
Yeah, you'll get it later. And then, of course, you're just sitting there nagging them because you're like, I want to play. It's Christmas morning. Why can't I play? Why can't I play? And then, you know, of course, that's fun. So then, do you remember any particular games in, like, when you first got your PS2 besides, like, the Need for Speed stuff, any other games that bring back any certain memories, or just, like, you remember playing that all day long?
Yeah, one of the first ones that a friend got for one of my birthdays that my parents really didn't like, but they got me, was this game called Roadkill. It was like, it was like a vehicle combat thing, and like Twisted Metal, and it was just a super hyper violent, gory thing, and my parents hated that I was playing it, and like that I was seeing all these things that I probably shouldn't have been seeing for a 9-year-old kid. And yeah, that was one of those things that I just played it day and night, like constantly trying to unlock everything on it because it was so much fun, like, you know, smashing into people or doing the jump trials to try to unlock other cars and stuff. Some of the missions definitely took multiple tries and almost, you know, snapping the controller because it's like, how am I supposed to follow this truck through these crazy winding paths and hit all these boxes it's dropping?
Right. So at that time, so like you had friends though, like obviously it was cool though. So you had friends that were gamers as well, so they would come up, hang out, play a lot of stuff together then?
Yeah. It was more I'd go to other people's houses. Like, there was the one kid who lived behind me who had the PlayStation 2 that encouraged me to get it, and we played like, oh man, it was that, and that's where I got the James Bond from. We played, the one, was Def Jam, like, we had that, and we played like, Madden on there, and then the friend of mine who lived across the street was the one with the GameCube. So we go over there and watch him like do Pikmin, or we play Smash, or stuff like that. It was always good. That's
always good when you have friends that at least you have the one friend that has the different system that you can at least go to their house and experience what it's like, so you're not completely in the dark. Because, you know, I hope everybody had that one friend where, you know, you had everything, you and everybody had this, but then you had the one guy who had the different system. So, of course, you know, getting to play at least different things. So then you went from PS2, had that. Did you go into PS3 or did you kind of go to 360 like I know a bunch of people did?
Yeah, it was definitely into 360 first. It was a friend of mine. Actually, it was DS first.
Oh, there you go.
I went into the DS because in middle school, a bunch of people were playing Pokemon, and one of my friends gave me his like old DS, like the original huge blocky one when he got the DS Lite. And yeah, we played like Diamond and Pearl on that. And then after that same friend sold me his 360, his regular 360 when he like decided I'm gonna stop playing games for now because I want to focus on music.
Okay.
So, yeah, I got that, and then from there it was Call of Duty into like Mass Effect, into like the bigger AAA and like more expansive titles and everything.
I'm super happy you brought up DS because so many people, like, to them, when they think gaming, they always think, PS2, Xbox, like all that. I'm so happy you brought up DS because I remember, there's people out there who have Pokemon memories, which getting lost in that, at least, the portability aspect of it was nice for car rides because, again, I bet it was great for every parent in the world just to be like, here, kid, play this. And you probably didn't hear him talk for hours. Yeah, exactly. Road trips were quite easier once the Pokemon games came out. And, of course, that was a pretty big phenomenon. Did you fall into the trap of any other things like the Pokemon trading cards or anything like that like I did?
Yu-Gi-Oh! First was actually, I never got into Pokemon. A lot of people at my middle school played Yu-Gi-Oh! So it was that. And then now I'm like way down the rabbit hole of Magic. And I'm like super addicted to Magic as it stands currently.
Right. Yeah, I like how that's always, like, I know people that have evolved from it. Like, I started Pokemon. I never did the Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, I remember when it was Pokemon, and then there was, like, the Dragon Ball Z card game. I remember that.
Yeah.
And then I started playing Magic for a little bit, and then I just kind of fell out of the card games altogether. But, I mean, it was still, like, of course, video gaming brought me into that, and that's always fun.
Yeah, so then, probably for the best.
So then, of course, 360 days, it was Call of Duty, Mass Effect, like, all the stuff that everybody was pretty much into then.
Yeah, it was that, that was when games stopped being kind of, crazy and, like, super explorative with, like, like Katamari, here's this weird game where you're rolling a ball, or like Roadkill, or like, like these weird just games that anyone could make. It was just, it started being more the AAA titles, and things like got a little bit more dull and gray. Guitar Hero and Rock Band too. I was big into those for sure. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, those games definitely have a special place for me too. Like those were great games and everything. I have Rock Band. I bought hundreds of songs, like hundreds of songs. Like I was always that nerd who had the most Rock Band songs. Anytime there was a party, a Rock Band was out, had to play that and everything.
Sure.
I never got like so deep into it though, where I could play through the Fire and Flames with my eyes closed backwards or crazy shit like that. But that was definitely And then also, of course, when Call of Duty 4 happened.
You're right. That was the thing. Yeah,
that was it. That was your game.
That was the one that everyone played for a long time. Yeah.
It's just funny because now, like you said, the weird stuff. At least indies are coming out now with that weird stuff.
Yeah, we've kind of gone back to it.
Yeah, because now it's just like, if you're a big publisher, Activision, EA, you don't take chances with that kind of stuff anymore, which sucks. Because, some of the indies, but at least the indies are around to have those different types of games. And, certain companies are trying to mix it in now. Like, I know Ubisoft's doing things, Child of Light, and EA had Unravel, and at least they're trying not to just do Call of Duty, Madden, Battlefield, Battlefront, like at least it's not just those types of games that are coming out on a regular basis. So at least that's good. So 360 days, and then did you go to Xbox One or did you go back to Sony with PS4?
And then it was my brother got a PS3 for one of his birthdays, and he got Uncharted 1, 2, and 3 at the same time.
That's a pretty good combo of games right there.
Yeah, and I played those a lot. And since then I've been more on the PlayStation side, like, because I guess it just stuck with me, being the first console, and then it just came back, and then more of my friends through high school actually had PlayStation 3s, and then now I have the 4 and everything. It's always stuck. I never really got into Nintendo, unfortunately. It was never one of the things that I got into, because I never had beyond like the DS, and we had the Wii also. And then I got a Wii U, but that never had any, like, a lot of games that I wanted ever, like, so it never caught on, really.
Yeah, unfortunately, like, you at least enjoyed the good, you had DS, which DS is, that library of games is crazy. Like, it is seriously one of the best libraries, like, between the Marios, the Zeldas, just the last, like, 2D Castlevania games, which were all good on DS. Yeah. And at least you got on that boat before Nintendo, I'm not going to say went south, but it's, obviously they're on their way back up with Switch. I just recently got a Switch. it's actually really fun. But also, as long as you temper your expectations of, I really hope you like Nintendo games, because that's what you're going to be playing a whole lot of.
If you're deep into nostalgia, then go for Nintendo for sure. I think that's what they're thriving on for sure, is the nostalgia factor more than, kind of innovating nowadays with games, at least.
Yeah, I will say like that those IPs they're still like Mario is still the most popular thing. Like if people think gaming, they'll think Mario forever just because of Nintendo and stuff. But I will say, at least so far from what I played of Zelda, Breath of the Wild, it is real good. Like it's actually, my son, as I originally asked my son, because we had the Wii U, and we played it and occasionally, and then eventually just got to a point he got his Xbox One and he's just playing that. And I'd ask him, do you want the new Zelda game? And he's like, he plays Zelda on 3DS and stuff. And he's like, I don't know. I'm not really, I'm playing Ark and all these other games on my Xbox. So he's all into that. I traded in all my Wii stuff, bought a Switch, bought Zelda and Mario Kart. Like I literally just got it 2 days ago. And it must be awesome to be a kid again, because in the last 3 days, he's probably put like 14 hours into Zelda. He's like, Dad, this game is so good. I'm like, yeah, I was trying to tell you before. Remember when I asked you if you wanted this game? He's just, he's like, yeah, I remember you asking. I'm like, yeah, I was trying to tell you because this game is supposed to be really good. And I can agree. At least hopefully Nintendo goes that route with Mario too. So Odyssey looks good. But again.
Yeah, it does. It does look like a very.
Okay, so as far as it goes, like what have you, as far as it goes now with so you have a PS4 now. Do you feel that any games that you played in the past kind of encourage you to play more of the same type of game later on in life? Or do you think some games like tired you out of certain games? Like I remember you were mentioning Need for Speed and stuff. Are you still into racing games as much as you were? Kind of have your like horizons broadened with new games that are out there that you didn't play when you were younger?
Definitely. When I was a lot younger, I'm deep into like RTS and strategy games, because back for PC I got Warcraft 3 and like Command and Conquer Generals, and those made me fall in love with the RTS genre, and I still play RTS whenever I get the chance of strategy. Like Civilization, also, I'm huge into it. I love Civilization. It's like one of my favorite games of all time. Racing games, I kind of fell out because a lot of them moved away from like the arcade style of racing. They turned more into simulation, like Need for Speed went away from it, and that got boring. And Burnout just died because...
Which is real sad, because Burnout 3 was so good.
Yeah, Burnout 3 and Revenge were great, and they just, I mean, Paradise was alright as well. It just wasn't, the same, like, arcade style feel of, like, I'm going 500 miles an hour down a street that I probably can't ever be going down.
Right. And not to mention you're making cars, blast into the side of a building and everything. Yeah, that's always...
Yeah, that was always great.
Yeah, Burnout 3 played on a loop when I worked at Game Crazy. It's a video game store I used to work at. It played on a loop on the Xbox in the corner. That was like the only game we had in the Xbox for years, because when we were bored, we were just like, well, of course you got to play Burnout, because that's again, like you said, the arcade style where you can play a game for 5 minutes and just be like, all right, that was enough, I'm done. Now it's more the simulation, Forza, Gran Turismo, Project Cars, which are like, if you love fine-tuning gear ratios and all that, you can do all that cool stuff. But yeah, I mean,
where's the fun?
Where's the fun in that? Some people think that's the best part of it, but nah, I'm good.
More power to them. Yeah, I've moved away from shooters for sure. Like I got pretty burnt out on the constant like stream of Call of Duty into like into 4 and then World at War and then what was it, Black Ops 2. The constant stream really burnt me out by the time high school was over. I liked Battlefield for a little bit, but shooters have definitely died off more. Like I've been getting kind of into Overwatch recently, because that's not really like an FPS, it's more like a strategy game in a way than an FPS, so that's probably what's bringing me back.
Yeah, that's almost like its own weird genre now, because it's just a mix of like the hero shooter style thing. But I mean, it's cool though, because like you said, there's a ton of strategy in it. It's not just involved around
running around and killing people.
Right. It's not just shooting all the time, or at least that's the cool part of it and everything. So, do you do any streaming on Twitch or anything like that? Like any stuff like that at all?
I actually again, towards the end of high school, I started up like a little YouTube channel because I actually wanted to learn how to, do some video editing and stuff. And I figured, why not play games at the same time as doing that? And I had a lot of fun doing that. When I was doing it, I kind of fell out of it because of time constraints and like school and work and then dating and whatever. So finding the time to record gameplay and stuff got kind of hard. I do want to go back to doing it for sure because it was a lot of fun. Just sitting here playing a game and putting your 2 cents into it and being a funny person
absolutely. You gotta try to be
however many people watched. Yeah.
No, that's always fun, just having your input and stuff. And that's kind of the cool thing with now where, anybody can do whatever. Anybody can do a podcast. Anybody can do, their own streaming. So it's super cool that people are out there. So if people wanted to reach out to you or see your YouTube or watch you on Twitch or anything, where would they go?
If you want to see my really old YouTube stuff from like 3 years ago, it would be on a Toasty Hat Plays is the channel. Yeah. And if I do end up getting back into it, which I'm kind of super considering recently because I've had more free time, then I'll have more stuff on there. I tend to do horror and stuff because horror has always been one of my favorite genres of anything in like literature and games and things like that. Or, weird like little indie games is also the other to kind of steer away from like the super popular things that other people are doing.
Right. What do you remember the first game you played that was a horror game? Like, was it a Resident Evil, basically like every other's first horror game?
Oh man, what was? I think Resident Evil 4 was on the PlayStation 2. It was the first one that I played. Yeah.
That's still probably one of the best games ever made. Period.
Yeah, I remember that for sure because I remember my brother walking in on me just as I was getting my head sawn off by one of the chainsaw dudes, and he burst out crying, and then there was this whole thing with my grandma and my mom yelling at me like, "How did you let him see that?" I'm like, the door was closed. It was his fault for walking in.
Wrong place, wrong time. You just walked in and saw, Leon's head just falling off his body. That's all.
Getting flopped off. Yeah.
Well, that's fine. Yeah. Well, I do appreciate you being on the show. Thank you very much and everything. And I will have a link in the show notes here for your YouTube channel so that way people can check it out.
Yeah, all right, cool. Thank you. Yeah, it was a good time.
Absolutely. Thanks, man. All right, so that was another episode of the show. Again, thank you very much, Tani, for being on the show. If you guys want to be on the episode of the show, just like he was, go ahead and send me a tweet at MitchPower1116, or go ahead and follow the podcast Twitter page, which is at GUG Podcast, and go ahead and send me a tweet there as well. Thank you guys so much for listening each and every week. I also will have a link in the show notes for Tani's YouTube channel, so if you'd like to check that out, feel free to follow him and see what he's got to offer. Again, I can't appreciate you guys enough. Thank you so much for sharing the show. Thank you so much for reviewing, rating, subscribing, downloading. It means a lot to me. Thank you guys so much, and I will catch you guys next week.